Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to you with another review. This week I checked out Gods of Egypt, and this 2016 film was directed by Alex Proyas and stars Benton Thwaites, Nikolaj Coster-Waldau, and Gerard Butler, among others of course. The story of this movie is about the Egyptian pantheon with all their different, gods and goddesses, and this story follows kind of their main god Horus, and he is supposed to become the king of the gods. However, there's an evil god that comes in and defeats Horus and also steals his eyes as well and becomes king. And so Horus has to go away and just be, by himself, all blind and whatnot. And then one day, a thief steals the eye of Horus and returns it to him, so he has at least one eye now. And then that sets them on a journey to kind of try to retake the throne. So they have to meet all these different gods, make alliances, defeat all these different monsters, and hopefully, return Horus to the throne. What will happen though? Well, for that, you gotta watch the movie and find out. Alright, so let's discuss this film. Well, with this one, I gotta tell you, it's a big CGI fest. Everything is CGI. Like, every room they walk into is all CGI. And of course, the actors are just working on green screen. But I liked it. I liked all the CGI. I thought it was really kind of ballsy of them. They just go balls to the wall with all the CGI. Like, everything is CGI. They have buildings that clearly, would never exist. They have giant snakes, giant minotaurs, and all of this different type of stuff. They have even like a boat in the sky. I know, a spaceship or whatever, but like pulls the sun. And there's just so many wacky and crazy visuals in this one that I can't help but like it. I know with some of these, CGI stuff, it's very busy and hard to look at, but I did not find that to be the case with this one. I found that actually all of the CGI stuff to be rather interesting visuals. Like, it's not, it is over the top, but it's not so over the top that you don't know what's going on at any one time. And so all of that certainly works. They even have this CGI element where the gods are like twice the size of a regular human. So humans will be walking around and the gods will be, double their size. And that's just another interesting visual. And it seems to be fairly seamless. So that's great to see. And yeah, the CGI in this one, though it's a big CGI fest, and I know that can be a shit show sometimes, but it works. I thought it worked at least. And with the visual elements being what they are, that's really kind of half of it, because I thought the story actually works as well. It's a great kind of hero's journey. After all, Horus is like on top of the world at the very beginning, and then he's brought so low, and then just him having to kind of rebuild his power and his faith and all this different type of stuff really does work. It really makes it for an interesting watch. Like, you want to see him go on and try to take the throne back. And so the story itself, yeah, I would say is pretty good. In addition, I thought the acting was good. Some of it's kind of mediocre, but these are kind of big names. Like, Gerard Butler's in this one and he does a good job, and all the other guys do a good job. Nikolaj does a good job, and so that certainly helps this movie. Also, there is a lot of action scenes. Like, every other sequence is kind of an action scene. And if it's not like a big fight, it's some type of thrilling element where they're jumping over booby traps or something like that. And so there is quite a bit to enjoy with this one, especially if you're an action fan. I know all of it's kind of these big CGI, battles and whatnot. This god versus that god, and they're flying through space and all this other type of stuff. But I think that certainly adds an element of interest to it. And so yeah, the action scenes, I enjoyed them too, and there's lots of them, so there is lots to enjoy. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this movie. Well, like I said, it's all CGI. It's just a big CGI fest when it comes down to it. And I know CGI is not for everyone, so if you're not into watching computer generated things happen, then this is not going to be for you. And it kind of just made me think, like, why would someone want to watch this movie versus a Marvel movie that has a lot of CGI, like Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that, where they're flying through space and fighting all these monsters. They're kind of doing the same here, but with different characters and powers or whatever. And so why would I choose this one over a Marvel movie? Probably, I think that added to why it's a flop back in 2016. And so if you're not into CGI, this is really not going to be for you. For me, I grew up on Reboot and Beast Wars, and so the CGI actually kind of looks good to me, and I enjoyed it for that, but I certainly know that it's not going to be for everyone. Other than that, I think an issue is that it's all the Egyptian gods. Like, I know a few Egyptian gods, but I don't know all of them. Like, who's the goddess of love? Who's the goddess of, knowledge? Or who's the goddess of the hunt or whatever like that? I have no idea who these characters are. And I think that certainly probably caused some issues when it kind of came to, North America, because other movies do it in such a way where there's kind of this built-in knowledge, like Hercules, for example, right? And so a lot of people kind of know the story of Hercules, or at least have some type of idea of what the Greek or Roman pantheon is like. And so that, works well in its favor. With this one, I think that's a detriment to this one. Like, I have no idea whether or not this is actually somewhat reliable information that they're trying to tell me. Like, is this story kind of what happens in, the legends? But I just couldn't, get past it. Like, why are you doing it with these guys? Like, why not just make it on some crazy alien planet? Like, it just seems like kind of an oversight that they went into with this one. So yeah, that certainly is something. And what else? I think with this one, they have all these European actors playing these Egyptian gods, which just seemed like an odd choice to me. Like, Gerard Butler's from Scotland, and he has a slight, accent. He's just using his normal accent, so that kind of, threw me off. I think Nikolaj's from Denmark, and so he's just speaking normally. And it just seemed like this was not necessarily the gods of Egypt, maybe the gods of Europe or something like that. And it certainly is a choice that they made. I think the actors did a good job. I just don't know if it kind of seemed contradictory. Not contradictory, that's not the word I want. It kind of seemed exploitative, maybe, is what I wanted to say with this one, because they're just don't necessarily look the parts. Also, it is a big time commitment for this movie. I think it runs 2 hours and 5 minutes. And so it is quite a long movie. I remember seeing this movie probably 2018 or something like that, just on TV or something. So I actually didn't know the name of it when I watched it the first time, of course. And so, sitting down for 2 hours, I had to take a break in the middle, of course, and, get some water and, get a sandwich or whatever. But man, it is long also. And so ultimately, would I recommend this movie? Well, I think it's just, a big, dumb, fun movie that you certainly can press play on and enjoy. I think it's also on Tubi, so if you're looking for it, go press play over there. As for a rating, well, at the end of the day, it's kind of average, I would say, especially with all the big kind of blockbuster Marvel movies out there that are very kind of similar. I think they even have one about gods as well. Don't they? Thor is a god. There's what's it called? Moon Knight has a bunch of Egyptian gods. And so it kind of just feels very samey to these Marvel movies at the end of the day. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.